Hey everyone, the devs just finished up their update 113 dev stream, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about for this upcoming update. But first thing I want to let you know is that it will be coming to the test server soon, so if you're on PC, you can try out all this stuff. And also, this update looks a little light on content with this preview that I'm about to give you, but they did say that there's an event coming soon, and that's happened before. So it may look light on content, but that's just because most of that stuff will be saved for the event. And so the first big change that's coming in update 113 is the new shooting range, which also doubles as a testing range of sorts and a private PvP lobby that can hold up to a trio. And we'll talk about that more in just a second. But the shooting range has been added under a new tab in the lobby tab, so you can access it that way. And it takes place at Fort Carmick on Lawson Delta, but they've touched it up a bit. So now there's a short range shooting gallery, a medium range shooting gallery, a long range shooting gallery, a throwables testing space, and a projectile penetration testing space. And all of these areas are pretty self-explanatory. If you want to test short-range weapons, go to the short-range shooting gallery, and they're all accessible. You can just walk to them independently, whatever you want to test. And around those different areas, there are also their respective weapons. So like in the short-range gallery, there are shotguns around. In the consumables gallery, there are consumables around. And there's also different ammo types that you can bring in, and of course traits as well that should apply to the weapons that they're nearby. So one of the best parts about the shooting range is these new dummies, which we've seen in the tutorial if you've played through that, but now there's more of them and they're scattered all around Fort Carmick for you to try out all your different weapons. And also with these new dummies, you can actually see the damage dealt to them with some damage numbers that hover over the dummies, and those damage numbers are color coded by the status effect. So if you light a dummy on fire, those numbers appear yellow, etc., etc. Another cool thing about the shooting range is the ping distance indicator. So in the shooting range specifically, this only applies to the shooting range, not on live. You can ping and it will tell you the distance to the ping, and that looks like this. So as I said before, the shooting range doubles as a multiplayer private match type thing. And so with your buddies, you can have a trio and you can go in as a team, and those rules apply where the team damage is reduced and you can revive your buddies. Or you can go in as opposing players, or this PvP mode, so a 1v1v1, if you will, and you will be able to do full damage to each other, and weapon looting and no party revives apply to that as well. So you can either go in as a team or you can go in as enemies, and anything that happens in the shooting range stays in the shooting range. So you can't boost your KD, you can't gain a bunch of experience. It's just a fun private area to test things or settle a dispute, whatever you need to do. Another cool thing about the shooting range is when you are down, you have two revive options. You can revive in place with full health, so it won't consume a bar, you just revive in place. Or you can respawn at a nearby location, and again you'll have full health, but it will also refill your entire inventory, whatever guns you're carrying, consumables, all of that. So one thing to keep in mind about the shooting range is it is limited to 25 minutes. So if you are bringing your buddies in there, you'll have that time limit, and then you can always re-queue into it. It's just to make sure people aren't idle in there taking up server space for hours and hours on end. So that's about it for the shooting range. There are a lot more details, and we can get more specific about it when it comes on test server. I'm sure I'll have a video about that. But let's move on to some other improvements that they've made. They made some changes to the tutorial, hence now display longer, and then the custom bound vault, jump, sprint, ADS, interact, bandage are now taken into account with the tutorial. All of that is great, but I don't think many people care too much. The Billy Story questline is getting a timer now, so you have until the 14th of September to complete the Billy Story questline. Thankfully, I have finished that. No, I haven't. I keep saying I'm going to, but I can't. I can't bring myself to do it. But maybe now I will. So be sure to finish that quest line. They said the reason they're removing it is they have some planned UI changes So that is going to go away. So be sure to finish it. Another small change, Quick Play is being renamed to Soul Survivor. There are some interesting considerations with that, but I'll just leave that for other people to figure out. Into some important bug fixes, present loadouts no longer buy legendary item instances when they are already available in the inventory. Ammo pool UI no longer displays an incorrect amount of ammo. That one was very annoying. Sometimes you'd pick up ammo and it would say you picked up a different value of bullets than you actually did. That has now been fixed. They also fixed a bug where windows couldn't be destroyed by shooting or melee attacks. That one I saw pretty frequently recently, so I'm glad that one's fixed too. Another cool one, throwing axes and knives are no longer destroyed when something they are attached to disappears. So finally we will reduce the amount of vanishing axe that our throwing axes do. The devs did say that it still does happen a little bit, but they are slowly getting rid of those bugs. On to the gameplay changes, and we have some huge ammo changes, and they're kind of complicated, so I'm gonna try not to lose you here. So this new resupply system is going to replace the existing one. And what that means is now there will be a fixed amount of bullets that you get from a resupply. You will only get one refill per ammo type carried, and ammo pools can still be shared. So let me just explain that real quick. As you can see on this chart, ammo values have specific numbers for their resupply. So if you're carrying a Sparks and you find a red ammo box, you will gain 2 long ammo bullets. If you're carrying a Vetterli with FMJ and you find a purple ammo box, you will gain 4 FMJ bullets. And back to those bullet points, you only get 1 refill per ammo type carried. So if you're carrying, let's say, a Sparks and a Sparks pistol, you will still only get 2 long ammo bullets from the red box. You won't get a resupply for both weapons, you get 1 long ammo resupply. I hope that makes sense because it is a little confusing to say out loud. Basically, they're removing the ability to stack ammo types to gain a bunch of extra ammo, but the ammo pools are still shared for most weapon types. So you can still run 2 long ammo weapons and share those ammo pools, but you won't gain double the ammo back from a resupply. Unless you are dual wielding, and then things get a little different. So dual wielding weapons no longer doubles the extra ammo. It is now shared as a single ammo type, and this is to reduce the incentive to use dual wielded weapons as extra ammo for a primary weapon. And I'm sure you can think of the combo that is targeted at. That is for the Avto and the dual Sparks combo. I'm sure you've seen that pop up recently. But that's to reduce how much ammo you get back and how much ammo that specific one can carry. Okay, so hopefully all that ammo made sense, but on to some other ammo changes. Incendiary ammo can now set players on fire with 1 hit until its damage drop-off starts. So what that means is within, let's say, 45 meters for long ammo rifles, if you are using incendiary ammo, 1 hit will light a player on fire. Then in the ranges where your damage drop-off is in effect, so beyond 45 meters with a long ammo rifle, then it will take more incendiary hits to do it. I forgot to mention here, salve skin will also save you from being set on fire on the first hit. That's a hard counter to incendiary ammo. Onto some other ammo changes. The ammo box now unlocks at rank 1. Dum Dum ammo on medium bullet rifles now applies intense bleeding, which is a buff to Dum Dum ammo on the Springfield. The devs also increased the extra ammunition for the explosive ammo for the base ammo amount, so basically you carry more extra ammunition for explosive ammo, and they also increased the extra ammunition for all Krag variants from 6 to 8, and that's a response to the ammo changes that we just talked about. A big one for me, the Bomblance can now carry 2 ammo types, and you can switch between them as if you were using the crossbow. Okay, into the next section, which is the balance changes. The sticky bomb can now kill players in a larger radius. That's cool. The 8-second fuse on that is still punishing, but it does make it more useful for PvP and not just PvE. They also increased the damage of the machete to allow it to 1-hit kill to the upper torso, similar to the cavalry saber. So now the machete is actually useful. And I know people like it, but I never used it because it felt weak. They also increased the base damage for all shotguns against hives and armoreds, so now shotguns are a little bit more useful for PvE. Another good one, they increased the damage of throwing knives on horses to allow single hit body kills, and that's great. They also slightly reduced the reload time of the Romero hand cannon and increased the reload time of the Romero hatchet. This was to differentiate them a little bit. That's totally fine with me. They also slightly reduced the cycle time of the Martini Henry Ironside and increased its extra ammo. So that's a pretty good buff for the Ironside. Still can't lever it, but it does shoot a little bit faster. And then they slightly increased the levering speed of the Winfield musket bayonet. It's not as fast as a regular Winfield 1873. And they also improved the recoil behavior of the Nagant officer carbine and its Deadeye variant. They said that they've kind of had to brute force this in the past, and so this should make it a little bit better, I think, but I think we're gonna have to test that one out, and we can do that soon on the test server. And then a big balance change, they slightly increased both the vertical and horizontal recoil for the Mosin Nagant Optomat, so that weapon will take a little bit more recoil control, and that's also in addition to the ammo changes we already discussed. On to trait adjustments, resilience will now heal up to full health. No longer will it be 100, and that sounds fine to me. That's a pretty good buff for that trait. Assailant's cost got reduced from 2 to 1. That increases the melee damage of the throwing axes and throwing knives. And then we have some changes to the mission summary accolades. Hunters reaching level 50 now receive 500 hunt dollars, so that's just a small bonus for continuing to use the same hunter. And then closing the 4th rift in the Soul Survivor, which was previously quick play, now rewards 75 bounty instead of 25. And that's just a little bonus regardless of what happens after you do that. And then some other changes, they fixed multiple bugs in the combat log, so it should be a little cleaner and more accurate. The combat log now shows events shortly after your death, which is nice. They also added over 100 new loading screen tips targeted at the individual experience level, so new players will see tips related to new weapons, whereas experienced players might see stuff related to the Dolch and the Optomat. That is all that is saying. The questline weapon variants will be added to the regular weapon progression with update 113. I've mentioned that in comments around. If you haven't finished the questline, be sure to do that, because then they will go through the normal progression and you'll have to unlock them that way. Okay, on to the legendary content. We're going to go through this quickly. There is the new Army Deputy. It looks really great. There is the Martini Henry Ironside, the Heaven's Key. It also looks very awesome. There's the Winfield Slate Eulogy. I'm never going to use that because I don't like the slate. There's the Scotfield Judge, which is the normal Scotfield. There's the Scotfield Swift called the Jury, and that's a pretty good skin. People have been begging for a Scotfield Swift skin, and now you have it. There's a chain pistol called the Widower, and the Vetterli got the Noose. It also looks very stylish. There's a new weak vitality shot, which kind of bums me out. We'll say that's the Sanguis Christi. And then there is a new sticky bomb, the Equine Heart. It looks very metal. And lastly, there is the knuckle knife, the Knotted Spine. So that about wraps up all the balance changes and new stuff coming up with update 113. My opinion is that the test server will be really great for anyone that wants to goof off with friends or test stuff out. I think players will have more access than ever to specific damage values at specific ranges, and I've seen some people asking for moving targets in the testing range. There is not any moving targets, but you can bring in your buddies and have them run around if you want to try to practice your velocity training. The other changes look really good. I'm curious to see how the ammo economy will change, because for a while it seemed like the ammo was not that great of a balancing factor, because you could always just bring another weapon with the same ammo type, and then it didn't really matter what your base ammo and ammo pool was, because you could just fix it with whatever. So hopefully these ammo changes fix more than they break, but I'm curious to see how that will play out. I also think that the changes to the Bomblance are really great. I'm excited to try out those dual ammo types, and the changes to the Optomat are long overdue. The devs did say it's still a powerful weapon, as it should be, but it shouldn't be the powerhouse that it was in 5 and 6 star lobbies. It got really annoying to fight those. Okay, I'm sure I will have plenty of videos about update 113 as it hits test server, so subscribe for those future videos. If you can't tell, I am dying from my allergies, so if I sound a little funny, that is why. There will be a summer event soon, and I can't wait to hear all the details about that. But until the next video, goodbye.